And we are back for another episode of the TWC Show, guys. We just watched AEW Revolution, me and Harvey. We just sat through that entire show. We're going to talk about the highs and lows of the show, things that we enjoyed, things we didn't enjoy so much. So I'm going to start with you, Harvey, right off the bat. AEW Revolution live from Los Angeles. A lot of storylines coming to the end. I know for a fact you have not watched AEW properly in weeks, possibly months. So for you that's watching AEW, maybe not so familiar with all the storylines going on, how did you enjoy the show?
So you made a point. I don't watch this regularly.
Yeah.
And this pay-per-view showed you why.
What do you mean?
This show regularly.
What do you mean?
It was trash.
It was not trash.
The wrestlers are fantastic. They're great at what they do. I have no idea what the hell's happening. Every guy was bleeding. Everyone was going through thumbtacks. It was the same tiger suplex, pile driver finisher. But
I'll say this, out of all the things you said, there's one thing that I do feel happened a lot, was there was a lot of those false finish kickouts to finishing moves. At one point you said, what is anybody's finisher anymore?
I have no idea. Like, at least I know when I tune into WWE, the pedigree's coming or the RKO. Every time the guy would do a move, I'm like, oh, that must be his finisher.
There was one spot.
And you're like, no, that's just
well, Kyle Fletcher stabbed Will Ospreay in the head with a screwdriver, hit him with a brainbuster, and then hit him with another brainbuster on the chair, and then Will Ospreay kicked out. Well, I was like,
who won with the roll-up pin?
That was Kenny Omega.
My God.
Okay, so once again, I have to say, like,
he got his ass kicked, and then he wins with a quick roll-up pin.
You not watching week to week was probably part of the reason why you didn't really understand what was going on.
I wouldn't watch this week to week.
I understood the storyline, so some of the matches kind of did coincide with the storylines and angles that they were telling. That all being said, my only complaint, and I don't know why we're starting out with complaints, but since we're going to start with complaints, and I'm a little...
I think this whole show was complaints.
No. I'm going to give you...
Very few good things to say about it.
My only complaint was that it was really long. And I do think there's maybe one or two matches on this show that didn't have to be on the show. And, like, unfortunately, like, you could have done without...
I could have counted 3 to 4 to maybe 5 matches.
You could have done without the tag title match. And I know the Hurt Syndicate's over and, you know, people in LA probably want to see them and stuff, but probably could have done without that match on the show. We probably could have done without the Okada and Brody King match on this show necessarily. Yeah. Not a bad match whatsoever, just added to the show to make it longer. And to be honest, like, I don't know. There's maybe 1 or 2 other matches that probably couldn't be on the show, but I'm going to stop right there. Outside of that, I didn't think it was bad. I just felt like it was long. And I feel like you could see it and hear it with the crowd a little bit as well. By the time we got to the main event.
By the end of the Adam Cole or Cope, whatever he calls himself, I actually had no idea.
Cope versus John
When you said that to me last time, are you down with the Cope? I had no clue what a Cope was.
He's the rated R Cope. Rated R Superstar Cope.
So
that should not have been the main event.
That was the most trash finish. Let's be honest.
That should not have been the main event.
That was such a trash finish. When Christian came out, for a guy who, again, doesn't watch regularly, I'm like, oh, sweet, this guy's going to do something. He did something, but he didn't do anything.
He didn't lead to nothing.
And then that just disappeared. The Christian lost, Edge is laying dead in the ring, and then now you got Swerve jumping off the top. Dude, I saw that 2 weeks ago, live. I don't want to see it again. Like, why do you need to go climb a barricade to jump off at the end of a pay-per-view?
To send the fans home happy, because sending them home with Moxley walking over with the titles, like, sending the fans home happy, sending the fans home happy with Swerve standing tall, being like, Swerve is going to be the one to just throw Moxley.
Send everyone home with, like,
I think it's better than
coupons, so at least they can go eat after spending 6 to 7 hours there. People probably
People in LA probably
starvation.
In and out coupons.
Yeah, I guess whatever's in the States, in and out coupons would be great. But that was way too long of a show. If it wasn't for you, I would have never watched it.
I enjoyed it too, for the most part. It was just really long.
Of course you did. You're the wrestling classic.
There's a few matches that stood out to me more than the others. Obviously, it started off the show, so you're going in with a good vibe and you're energetic and stuff, but I really enjoyed MJF versus Hangman. Once again, MJF showing why he's a tremendous wrestler. They told a great story. The one thing you did ask me, because one thing you don't watch every week, like why are they wrestling each other? So it was more of just who MJF is a little bit jealous that Hangman, the fans love him even though he does bad things, but they don't love MJF that way. That's basically what it's been about.
Like what else? His haircut?
No, there was a point in the match where MJF showed his insecurities, but why are you cheering for him and not me? Like,
wasn't he being booed for a couple of years?
Who?
Hangman?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, see. That's the problem. I don't know the storyline. But they don't even make an effort to at least tell us the storyline.
They tried a little bit.
Show me something before the match starts.
They had video packages before.
I'm not going to lie if I don't watch them.
Yeah.
So in fairness, I don't know what's going on because I choose not to know either.
So I really enjoyed MJF versus Hangman. I enjoyed Mercedes and Momo for what it was.
Knock off Asuka.
No, I not knock off Asuka. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was a good match. Obviously, Mercedes has been bringing some of the best women's matches, like in terms of like traditional long. Because AEW doesn't have many long women's matches. A lot of Mercedes matches have been
There's
going
got
longer.
long shows that bore you.
Yeah, but the match, like if there was other matches that weren't on this show, it'd be okay.
It gives you like old school WWE WrestleMania vibes, right? We're tuning for WrestleMania.
Oh, I did say. I remember joking at one point. I was like,
7 hours.
if they split the show into 2 nights, it might have been okay.
No, it wouldn't have been.
I know, but
who's going to watch
that was
shows?
my joke.
You barely want to watch one.
That was my joke because I was like, they had enough main event matches that could.
The wrestlers are amazing.
Yeah.
The
talent pool is insane.
That guy, what they did was phenomenal. But you saw my reaction. I was like, oh, not because I was like, oh, that's crazy. I'm like, why are they still doing this? Why is the guy stabbing himself? Why is he taking thumbtacks? Why are they punching each other with glass? You don't need
Those
to do
only
any
two
of that.
matches that were that crazy.
They all bled.
And it was just Mariah and
Okay.
Tony.
Okay.
And it was Fletcher and
bled.
Ospreay.
They bled.
That's it.
No one else?
Those are the only two matches that was insane.
Oh, wow. They literally put it in my head that everyone was bleeding the whole night.
No, those are the only two matches.
There must have been more.
But those are two matches that stood out to me. Those two matches.
What about Swerve and Ricochet?
There was no bleeding.
Wow.
That's great. This guy's assumed everybody was bleeding the entire time.
I
He
just
got it wrong.
assumed
Were you even paying attention to the show?
I guess not then. It's too, I think that was traumatizing when I saw that blood and just...
I think Ospreay and Fletcher was great. Obviously, Ospreay in a lot of our minds is probably the best wrestler they have in that company right now in terms of like popularity. Should be the world champion, all that type of stuff. That match was great. I think there was a little overbooking going on with Mark Davis, and then like there was some moves that
we stepped outside and then a guy came through a cage.
Yeah,
I had no idea what was happening. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah,
and then he like beat up two guys.
And then he which was a cool little spot where he beat them both up. And we're like, oh, this is it, but that was not it.
Yeah.
And there was still like another 20
that flip
minutes.
from the top, I was not even impressed.
I was, but it seemed unnecessary.
Exactly. I'm like, what are you doing? Just pin the guy.
There was a point where Kyle Fletcher beat him up so bad too, and I was like, yo, why wouldn't you just pin him? And I was like, I don't think is the purpose to win the match anymore, or what is it? Because
that's like I said, when it comes to the finishers, I can't tell you what Ospreay's finisher is. I feel like every single one of them just runs and either hits him with an elbow.
He has the Stormbreaker, he has the Hidden Blade, and then he has the Tiger Driver.
Isn't that Kenny Omega's moves?
No.
Okay, it was, to me, it felt like a New Japan.
It was a good match.
And we've talked about, I know nothing about New Japan.
Yeah.
I don't know any of these guys.
Yeah. You wear any favorite Japanese wrestler on your shirt?
Samoan.
Yeah.
But these guys don't get me excited because I never followed New Japan.
Yeah.
So I kept asking.
I know. I did kind of have to explain to you the relationship.
Is this guy full time? Is it part time?
Yeah, I had to explain to you how they were a group.
Is he like the biggest?
How they were a group? What the? Yeah.
Yeah, it's too much.
But that also plays in the fact that you don't watch the product, which is okay.
I don't.
So anybody that's judging his opinions, but based off the fact he doesn't watch the product.
I do watch the pay-per-views.
Let's talk about that though. You did watch AEW at the beginning.
Tons.
You were an AEW fan.
It was great.
So let's talk about that really quickly, right? Because I'm still watching every week. I got friends and people that work there that I'm going to support regardless. The talent roster is deep. As someone who's I'm going to put you and say this about a casual AEW fan.
Yeah. I'm probably below casual though.
What made you stop watching as much? Because I've always been curious with some people like you. Because I remember when it started 2019 to I want to say 2022. You were all in.
Okay, this is my belief. I think the peak of AEW was Kenny Omega's title run. That's just my belief.
You said that many times.
For a guy who never watched AEW, so remember, I didn't know the indie guys. I didn't know where they were coming from. I think they spent 2-3 years building up their roster, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And then I think it was after the WWE releases when they started bringing in guys and they weren't doing anything. So I think I popped when Adam Cole and Daniel Bryan showed up the same night. Yeah. I was excited, but then I don't remember them doing anything. And I think after Hangman won his title, I think that's when it really went stale for me. And then I just lost interest. And then a lot of pay-per-views on Wednesdays is what it sounded like to me. They had I don't know, Sunbelt Wednesdays.
Beach Blast.
I don't know what they were called
Fighter
anymore.
Fest.
Yeah, exactly. So I said, hey, are these pay-per-views? Too many names. They should just kept it Dynamite. And then they started a Saturday Collision show. But again, now I'm just adding on to the fire, right?
Yeah.
But it probably was, I think, just too much started happening. Too many groups started forming.
Was part of it WWE started getting better?
What year would that be?
Because that would have been 2021.
That wasn't that COVID year still? So no.
No.
It was almost COVID.
Because what was happening?
I never stopped watching because of WWE.
Because fans
both,
came
right?
back in 2021, right?
I watched both, but I think the characters got stale for me quick because no storyline progressed. Remember, I wanted Jungle Man a long time ago.
Yeah. And then it happened.
When it didn't matter.
He turned to Christian, became Jungle Man.
Yeah, but we thought he was going to be Jungle Man a long time ago.
And then they did Jungle Man now, and it...
So, yeah, I'm trying to think back why I stopped. It just became...
Because I've always been curious about that. Like, what made people stop?
I think too many shows, too many names for pay-per-views. Saturday shows don't sound like... I don't want to...
These all sound kind of like excuses because WWE has too many names for pay-per-views, too many shows.
No, but I knew...
Those Raw, SmackDown, NXT...
No, but those are TV shows
that
I know we're used to for the last, 20 years?
Yeah.
Monday and Fridays or whatever, Monday, Thursdays, they kept changing them. But AEW is still new. So I had my buddies that... So I would... Agreed, I was playing casual at that point. But I had buddies that didn't watch that would tune in and be like, oh, this is pretty cool stuff. Like Penta, Ray, the Young Bucks. But after that, I think they just stopped developing their storyline. And then too much drama. Cody left. And then... they formed a lot of groups and they went nowhere. Remember Dark Order? It was so cool when they came out, and then they did nothing.
There was a lot of groups that went nowhere. They tried to create the Undisputed Elite. Yeah. They tried to do the Elite. There was a lot of things going on. There was a Jericho
no specific reason.
There was the Inner Circle.
But I like the Inner Circle was cool.
Yeah.
Right? And Jericho, was that the... Yeah, so when they started. So I was good with all that. And I think over time, I just lost interest. I'm not going to say it was because of WWE. I've always watched WWE. Yeah. I wanted competition. I think it was a production in a weird way. We talked about that today.
Yeah, there was a weird phase where it stopped looking like the way it looked and became more highly produced, and then it became less appealing in a weird way.
I don't know how to explain it, but like the cameras they use now are much different from... Like, when they launched, it looked more live and more real. And more...
raw and uncut.
Yeah, now it doesn't. Now it feels like they're going towards like a cinematic production.
Interesting.
Without it being a cinematic production. Or they think it is, but I don't think...
Well, I think AEW did today what they always do, and you said this multiple times. I think they put on a really great live show. If you're there in the crowd live, you're going to enjoy it.
Well, I went. Remember, we had tickets when they came to Vancouver. I had a blast.
They do great live shows. When you're there in the crowd, like the fans in the crowd probably really enjoy tonight from top to bottom. As people watching home on TV, that's where sometimes I think they sometimes struggle because the people at home are like, man, this is long. What is happening? We've seen a lot of kickouts from big moves. Like, I think almost every match, people were kicking out people's finishers. I might be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, like, the Runners didn't kick out of Bobby Lashley's spear, and I'm like, that's the one thing I'm wrong about. But, like, there's a lot of that, too, where I was even like, if he kicks out of this, I don't know. And then they'd kick out of it, and I was like, crap.
I think they also started, it got taken over by, like, the hardcore indie wrestling fans.
Well, that's what they cater to.
Yeah, so like I wouldn't I did watch AEW with my kid before. No, they don't care about it.
Yeah.
They just, like, I can't sit there. Like, imagine watching pay-per-view today with them. Like, I didn't want to watch it. I was like, the hell with this. Why do they keep doing this themselves?
I watched it, but it was just...
Well, we watched it. I had no choice. I got forced. But,
forced was crazy.
Yeah, it was forced.
No, you were not forced. It was... Listen, and then also I think, and I stand by this till this very point, I'm a little sick if you guys don't realize I'm still a little bit under the weather. But I genuinely think Mariah May and Toni Storm should have ended the show. I think they should have main evented. It was bloody. It was gory. It's a little too much for you. I know the storyline. I know this was match 3 of 3. The way it ended with the end of the thing, you know, on the screen, and Tony, like, that just seemed like that should have been the main event.
So the only storylines I knew of were that Mariah May and Toni Storm and Ricochet and Swerve.
Yeah.
Because I just love how Ricochet does interviews.
Aha!
So that I knew what was happening. So I was good with those matches. But like I said...
And you watched Ricochet and Swerve. You were invested in that match.
But remember what I told you, Ricochet still he's so different from the rest of them because of him working in WWE. You can tell with his facial expressions, how he's in the ring, how he reacts to certain moves and his surroundings. You can tell that he came from WWE and how their production worked as well. So he kept me entertained regardless of, you know...
There was one point where you're like, why didn't Prince Nana just grab the jacket and run? off the thing.
That guy, I mean,
and then he came
flipped,
in.
no, he watched his coat get hung up
Yeah.
on the corner of the turnbuckle. He stared at it. Then he flipped off Swerve. Then he came back. Then he took a hit. No, then he grabbed the jacket. Then he took a hit from Ricochet. Then
You took a hit from Swerve by accident inadvertently.
but then he loved him. That was cool.
Yeah.
But before it wasn't cool. And then he came out to challenge Moxley. So Swerve can jump off him.
Like, bro,
Or jump
no way about Swerve, but he should have stole the jacket off the corner and ran.
It's gonna make no sense. And that was his sister or his mom?
No, that was some celebrity.
No. I'm
No,
pretty sure that was
Nigel thought it was his mom. That was some celebrity.
Oh, so he was wrong too.
Yeah.
That guy works there.
Yeah.
So he
got
works
corrected.
there.
He got
and
corrected on commentary.
And so the guy working there barely pays attention. So why the hell would I pay attention to AEW?
I don't know, man.
Blows my mind.
But Swerve and Ricochet is good. But once again, for me, it was MJF Hangman. It was Mariah and Tony, which I think should have main evented. That was a storybook ending, probably the best women's feud in wrestling recently, to be honest with you. I think it's top 5.
Wrestling?
I think so. Women's feuds. Think of them.
Women's feuds. So it's not women's feuds, right?
There is a ton, but I think it's up there.
No, what women's feuds going on?
No,
Liv and Rhea?
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Trish and Lita back in the day, I don't know.
Oh, you mean all time?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, man.
What
You
do
can't
you
get that all time.
What other women's feuds
You
are
can't
up
put
there?
me on the spot, but I'm sure
Charlotte, Sasha,
those are just your favorites.
Trish, Lita.
Trish and Lita, you gotta put up there.
What else you got for me, man? Becky and Charlotte?
Yeah, I guess you're...
You know what I'm trying to say?
No, I will not agree that this is the top 5.
Alexa and Nia? Like, what are we trying to do
I
here?
gotta go back, watch the network, man. I can't.
Bailey and Sasha?
It's late, alright? I
Yeah,
spent
you
7
don't have it.
hours
It's up
watching.
there.
No,
And
7
it
hours.
is, and I do think it's top 5 AEW storylines of all time. Shout out to RJ City.
AEW storyline, maybe.
Yeah, because I think there's Punk MJF, there's Hangman Swerve, there's Mariah Tony, and then there's all the other 2 you can throw at me.
No. What about Hangman and Kenny?
I don't. Nah.
Yeah.
That was alright.
That was one.
Okay,
Moxley
sure.
and Kenny.
Nah.
Jericho. Who did Jericho lose to? Moxley as well.
Yeah.
That was good.
You think that's up there?
Edge and Christian.
No.
Yeah, why not?
You just had 2 WWE names.
Well, aren't they in AEW?
I know, but you said Edge and Christian. That was
What's Christian
It was Cope versus Christian Cage, okay?
He was Edge just before he came back as
I
Cole.
don't know, it was Cope, bro.
Okay.
Gotta cope. But anyways, I think Mariah and Tony's up there, and I think that should main evented. I think the main event, I think the whole show, at the end of the day, regardless of what we really feel about like how long the show was, from top to bottom, that show was great until that main event. Everything slowed down. They almost had us when they thought Christian was going to cash in and win. And then he didn't.
That was brutal ending. Like,
And then right? Mox just won, and there was a lull because it was like, you're going to end like this. So they had to have Swerve attack him, because otherwise fans would be like, what the hell just happened?
No, they felt like that anyways when Christian tapped out. That was stupid.
How funny was it when Christian put his hand on Edge trying to get the pin though?
That spot was good. I thought he was going to get the 3 count on Cope. But,
And like wins the title like that while he choked out. And then the Ops were in the thing. I thought they were going to get involved because they've been beefing with Christian the entire time.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah,
They
so
showed
my
up.
whole thing was like, oh, Christian's trying to cash in and Samoa Joe guys are going to stop it, but no.
It was,
Jay White hit Edge by accident and didn't even slow anything down.
Well, who's he involved with?
With Edge. I mean, Cope. With Cope.
He's friends with Cope?
Yeah,
like
trying to help him against these Death Riders.
Didn't he just fight Christian Cage a couple of pay-per-views
Yeah,
ago?
yeah.
See, I follow a little bit.
That's good. No, it was great.
But then why is he
He's been helping Cope with the Death Riders for the last couple of months.
Teletubbies, as you called them?
Not you called them the
No,
Teletubbies.
you said
I
they're
never
on
said
AEW. They're called the Death Riders.
No, I never said that.
Yeah, go back.
There's
and
no
listen.
recollection of this.
Well, we'll clip that.
It might have been the audio only. I enjoyed the show. I would give it 8 out of 10.
8.
I mean, listen, man.
Come on.
That cage match with Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher was bloody crazy, a little out of control. A lot of like person should probably be dead, but it was good. Mariah and Tony was good. MJF and Hangman was good. Swerve and Ricochet was good. The tag match was good, but could have done without it. Nothing was really necessarily bad.
Well, I'm gonna factor in the.
And that's the thing with AEW. They don't really give you bad wrestling. They just give you too much.
So because our clock went up an hour, that's gonna affect my ratings.
Oh my god.
Too many matches in the card. That's gonna affect my ratings. I'm gonna give it like. I want to say 4.5, but I'll give it like 5.
It's because the Bret Hart rating AEW.
No, it's a
4 out of 10.
No, it's a 5. If there were maybe 3 less matches, they would have been like a
What
solid
matches am I
6.5.
missing? Okada and Brody was whatever.
Yeah, see that. Yeah, we said that match should have not.
Oh, Kenny and Takeshita.
No, the guy he rolled him up. He got his ass kicked. Took how many moves? He took 15 finishers.
Great.
It was
match.
like playing
Great
WWE
match,
2K24.
okay?
Resilience button.
Long as hell.
How's it
At
going?
one point, I thought that match went on for way too long.
Yeah. Did you turn around when I told you he pinned him?
Yeah, I didn't even see the pin.
Yeah, exactly.
It was way too long. And Kenny looks great. I'm glad Kenny's back. Kenny's like, I
like Kenny. I'm a big
yeah.
fan of
Kenny's like Mr. AEW. He's one of the founders of this company that people actually still have. He's not polarizing to anybody. He looks great. Came back from diverticulitis, wrestled the title, won the international title. Everything's great, but boy, was that match long. And they had to follow Mariah and Tony, which sucks because that was such a...
And you're giving a card an 8. And you're complaining about how long it was.
Okay, fine. Maybe it's a 7.
I think you can push it at 6.1.
The main event should not have been main event. Tony and Mariah should have main evented. It was a decent card. Are you going to watch Dynamite this Wednesday to see the fallout?
Probably capital H. Hell no.
Oh, hell no. Okay. All right. I'm going to tune in.
I was down to spell out the word, but I'm like, why am I butcher it? Because, if you listen to just yapping, we did go to ESL.
ESL, English second language. But I thought it wasn't that bad. Do I wish the event was shorter? For sure. But I also wish WrestleMania 35 was shorter. And I also wish a lot of events were shorter.
Yeah, so they should learn from
that's our problem too, is I think we got way too comfortable with this Triple H 4 or 5 match card that's making these shows seem even longer.
They could have had 7 matches, but you can't get us to say... What time did we start watching this? So we're in the West Coast.
5.
No. I think we started at 4 p.m.
No, 5. Starts 5.
I don't believe
5.
that. Was it 5?
5.
Okay, so 5 to 9. 4 hours. That was a long... That felt way longer than 4 hours.
At one point, I was like, oh, they're moving through this pretty fast when we got to the tag team matches.
Remember, you're like, oh, it's the main event. And then you're like, oh, shit, I forgot about this one. And then...
I forgot about Fletcher and Ospreay.
You forgot twice.
No,
there was 2 more matches between I got to the
I forgot
main
about
event.
Fletcher and Ospreay.
And then Omega.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, oh, shit, no. I'm like, again, dude?
Omega.
I'm like, let's get this over with. Yeah, shit.
And the hardest part was they put Will Ospreay and Omega back to back, and you're like, this is going to be the same style of wrestling. Which AEW does a really good job of giving you a buffet of wrestling of different styles, but when they do something back to back like that, you're right.
Yeah.
It just felt like a lot of the same shit.
Well, going back to what you're saying, I think the placement of the matches could have been changed up.
Yeah.
Like maybe Hangman and MJF could have been closer to the end because their style is different compared to Omega and Ospreay and...
Yeah, and I just think Mariah and Tony...
Mojo? What was the girl's name? Momo?
Watanabe. I'm
No
probably
idea
butchering
that.
That's why I didn't say her last name this whole time.
Yeah. Where's she from? New Japan as well?
Stardom, I believe. Yeah, Japan.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a good match.
It's a good match. I just didn't know her.
Scrappy little Mercedes versus scrappy little Momo, and
Mercedes needs to...
she has good matches.
She's an overpaid mid-card.
She has good matches.
Overpaid mid-card.
Just because she has a TBS title doesn't mean she's a
That's
mid-card.
mid.
I think Mariah goes after Mercedes now.
For what reason?
For the TBS title.
Why do you want it? Aren't they on TNT now?
No,
It was
they're on
TNT
TBS.
before?
They're on TBS.
Oh, that's why they changed that.
The men have the TNT title.
Why do you pay her so much to be mid-card?
Because they had a storyline going on for the Women's World Championship. I do think Mariah and Tony should have ended Hollywood ending. They're in LA. They're in the Crypto Arena, Staples Center. They should have main evented. That should have been the end scene, the end. The pay-per-view's over. That would have been fantastic. Yeah. I think they placed that in the wrong place. Because I'm going to be honest, and maybe I'm being biased here a little bit, and I like Kenny Omega. I think Will Ospreay's the man. Obviously, I grew up a fan of Cope and Moxley, but they're just, that didn't do it at all for me. But like I think everything after Mariah and Tony, I was kind of like, oh.
Well, how many matches? But how many?
And how many times did I say I'm drained after that match?
Yeah, you were drained. I was bored.
Because I'm also sick, by the way. Like, I'm obviously tired. But after that Mariah Tony match, I'm like, I'm kind of good. And it was just more wrestling. And they followed that with Takeshita versus Kenny, which was so long. Then they followed it with Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher, which was a good match. But there was many times where I'm like, this person should be dead. How are they kicking out? And then we went to the main event. And by that point, I was just like, I'm over this.
So it also just felt like, to me, a regular Wednesday night show.
Well, that's the problem, is that they give so much away on free TV that's so good that it can feel like that sometimes. Yeah. But like I said, certain matches, that tag title match, Brody King and...
the tag match, forgot about that.
Brody King and Okada, like all of those could have been on Wednesday. You know what I'm trying to say?
Who are those 80s guys? Like,
they're great, they're run, those are funny.
No, like, are they actually that old? They just cut their hair to look like that.
I think it's they're not actually that old. It's a gimmick. Okay, let's wrap up it on AEW though. We're done with AEW. That's okay.
Thank God.
That's all you want to say about Revolution. I don't want us to sound like one of those grifter
Great wrestlers,
podcasts.
great wrestling. Too long.
Yeah,
me.
We watched the show. That's our recap on it. That's all we're gonna say for me. Standout matches: Hangman MJF, Mariah, Tony, and I'll say even Fletcher and Ospreay was ridiculous but good. Like, not really believable. It's almost like, oh, you have my phone. I was gonna play that clip from that.
Oh yeah, we forgot about her.
I was
the best part of the whole show.
Damaris Lewis, who I interviewed.
She taught me something new today.
Yeah, who I interviewed actually on Casual Conversations.
You met her?
I interviewed her for Queen of the Ring, and they interviewed them, and they asked her what she learned from wrestling, and she said, "Damn, now I gotta see if I can find it. Give me a second here, because that was the best."
Yeah, don't butcher it. Like, say word for word.
That was the best part.
That phrase probably changed my life. I'll never look at wrestling the same.
Like, what did you learn about wrestling?
Oh man, what have you been doing your whole life? Like,
that's like.
I think she was trying to be motivational and like try to encourage young kids and people to not to give up on their dreams.
I know, I'm trying to figure out where to find it now. This is a bummer.
That was probably one of the best parts.
Of the
Him
whole
and
show.
seeing Mr. Lee or the guy from Hangover.
Yeah.
Forget his Hangover name. But yeah, that girl definitely should have really thought about, for an actor who reads lines and they got to be prepped for what they say. She should have really thought about that.
About pro wrestlers. Y'all know you're gonna win before anybody else does. So thank you for teaching me that.
To all you pro wrestlers, what I learned about all you pro wrestlers, you all know who's gonna win before anybody else does.
Thank you for teaching me.
Thank you for teaching me that. She spoiled wrestling on a wrestling event.
Well, now what if my kid was
Before we
watching?
went to the main event, so now you're telling me that Mox knew he was gonna win?
What if my kid was watching that?
That is.
It's like ruining Santa Claus.
That's literally what I was about to say. It's like ruining Santa Claus the Tooth Fairy.
Come on.
The one thing I learned about wrestlers, y'all know who's gonna win.
The fans are, the best is the kid just scratching himself, right?
He's got his arm on the
Armpits,
background.
he's like,
His shirt's fully up like
I paid more
a
attention.
Daisy uncle. He's just like,
after she made that comment, my vision just went to that. I'm like, what is that kid doing? He's
I
just
told
like,
him,
on camera.
look like he's scratching his armpit behind her.
That guy's going to
It's like
watch.
I think of a crap.
Swear to God, that kid must have been hungry. He's probably just looking for food at that point. He's like,
can't.
man, someone feed me.
I can't breathe. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna wrap this up, but before that, CM Punk's pipe bomb Monday Night Raw. He called The Rock and John Cena two bald frauds. So The Rock does this just so he can feel something, make it seem like he cares. Took the logo off, dropped his pipe bomb, and right when he told Becky Lynch, "Hey, come get Seth, get your husband before I send him home in a wheelchair," out came Seth and they brawled. How you feeling? And he dissed Cena, he dissed The Rock, he dissed Rollins.
All he does is complain.
He's a great promo.
No one did anything to him.
He's the best in the world.
No one did anything
Yes, they
to
screwed him out of his
How
opportunity
did-
because
who
he's
is
been
they?
going.
Who is they? No,
he's
give
been
me-
going through hell to get this main event at WrestleMania, and The Rock comes and just Cena sells his soul to this guy.
Well, what did The Rock do to CM Punk say that he couldn't win the chamber?
He came here and he
What?
made Cena a bad guy, so Cena
No, what
capitalized.
did The Rock do to
Cena
Cena?
Cena didn't use his his
Cena
moral
already had-
compass
Cena
to
had won the
capitalize.
match.
He barely won. Seth Rollins him with the crimson. Old Cena would be like, "No, I can't win this way. I can't win this way. Make a wish." You know what I mean? This Cena's like, "Oh, I'm gonna capitalize, choke him out." Propaganda. I'm telling you.
Cries about everything.
No, that was a hell of a promo. You need to admit it was a hell of a promo. This guy dragged
To
The Rock.
me, it
He
was
dragged
another-
John Cena.
Well,
He's
because
about
he said
to
the
drag.
word shit twice.
No.
That's it. People pop for swear words.
He said,
Because he
he
cussed.
said, "I'm gonna come after you guys. You guys are gonna make a wish I didn't." That's crazy.
Those jokes were. He was a week too late for those jokes.
No,
they were being set all week.
no.
Actually, was it the next?
It was the next day. 2 days after.
Felt like a
It
week.
was 2 days after.
I mean, it was
You
a.
just won't give Mr. CM Punk his flowers for being a hell
What
of a promo.
flowers? What flowers?
He's the best in the world.
At complaining,
At
at whining, at crying,
making us feel
blaming
something.
everyone else. You know what? Punk reminds me a little bit.
Of you?
Yeah.
He reminds me
I
of
used, to, I used to blame everyone for my problems before I realized, hey, maybe it's just me. and I got to take control of my actions instead of always pointing fingers. What did they say, right?
He didn't
One
point
finger pointed
fingers.
that way. There's what? 3 fingers pointed back at you.
This
Right?
guy, what, you go to therapy or something? Who taught you this? Your self-help book? Your self-help mug that you had earlier?
Yeah. Love yourself.
Okay. Let me tell you something, okay? I'm sick. Almost done. CM Punk cut a hell of a promo, and I just want you to admit that he cut a hell of a promo.
He got a promo.
A good promo. No, not even that. A great promo.
He didn't cut a great. He cut a good promo.
A great promo.
Good promo.
He dragged.
What do you want me to? So what? He made fun of The Rock. Cena's made fun of The Rock.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Why? What does that have to do with Cena? Bald.
What does The
bald
Rock
ass
have to do
man.
with Punk?
What?
The Rock did not interfere with Punk losing. Punk lost.
Because of Seth.
No, exactly. That's his problem.
And then Cena capitalized on it.
Seth was in the match.
And
Rock was
already
not in the
eliminated.
match. Cody was not in the match. Punk lost to 5 other competitors.
No, he lost to one.
Who?
Cena.
So he lost to Cena. So what does Cena selling his soul do anything for
it
Punk?
made him disappointed. In
Oh no! Now it sucks to make CM Punk disappointed.
Yeah, you made him
Why?
disappointed, okay?
Why? Why does everyone
Now
cater
let's
to him?
fast forward to SmackDown, and Cody addressed what happened to him. And Cody said what, sucks that it happened, yada, yada, yada. My daughter looked at me. I had to tell her I walked into a wall, and that wall was The Rock. And then he said,
cracked by
Cena's
Travis
going to come
Scott.
out
That's
here.
worse, right?
Cena's going to
Getting
say a
hit by
bunch
a
of...
rapper?
Yeah. Someone didn't smarten up Travis. Only if Damaris Lewis said what she said. Only if Damaris Lewis spent some time with Travis Scott.
She should have talked to him
She
before.
would have known. He would have known that the winners that he knows are going to win.
She was a week too late.
Yeah. And that this is scripted. Damaris, only if you got to Travis Scott. Cody would not have a shiner in his eye.
Cody's promo was better than Punk's.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
It was not better. It was good.
No,
Cody's promo was good. Punk's was great.
Cody didn't complain. Punk complained.
No,
And
no,
Cody sold it
no.
as a baby face. And he did it way better, and people still cheered without him.
CM Punk made
Cries.
you feel.
Feel what?
And then they started scrapping him and Seth. It was on site.
When did he return to WWE?
November 2022.
And what kind of promos has he cut?
Great promos.
Crying promos.
No, that's-
Every promo is about him complaining.
Okay, now back to Cody. He's like, no matter what John Cena says, he'll try to justify it and make it sound like what he did was right, but there's no justification for anything that he has done. I have to agree with Cody Rhodes. John Cena's done that for about 15 years now, where he comes out, he says a bunch of bull crap that isn't true, and everyone just, yay, John Cena! You can't see him and shit. Like, now nobody should believe him. This is a Cody Rhodes audience. John Cena's a bad guy. And once again, I do think John Cena will be a good guy by the end of the year because he's not going to retire a bad guy. But we're getting something different, and I dig it. And I'm happy.
Yeah.
And Cody Rhodes' promo was okay. It was a good promo.
It was a great
I'm
promo.
intrigued to see what
Say it,
happens.
it's a great
I know
promo.
it was a good promo.
Say it,
But you know
great.
what was a great promo? CM Punk. He took the thing off the microphone, had the pipe bomb. He blacked out. He was just talking shit about everybody. Real.
He just complained and tried again.
Some of the best promos are when people complain and cry. I'm going to take it back for a second and wrap this up. 1997, okay? It was
I know
Bret
what
Hart
you said.
versus Psycho Sid in a steel cage. And that cage, Bret got screwed. Austin came out there. Taker came out there. This man pushed Vince and said, I've been screwed by everybody. Da, da, da. And it was like, and then, Taker came back out. And
But how many times did Bret
and
say that before that?
How awesome was that?
How many times did Bret
How
say
awesome
that?
was that moment? This guy was piss and vinegar. But, like, we were excited.
How many times did Bret do that before that moment?
Never. How many times has Punk done this?
All the time.
No, this whole
Call
run.
it a pipe
This whole
bomb.
run.
How many pipe bombs does this guy need?
Like 4. He's done like 4 so far. Okay.
So he's all he does is complain.
No, he's been coming back, being a happy dappy guy. Like, I'm happy to be here.
No, you know who's been screwed in this whole situation? Is my boy Drew McIntyre.
Oh, you don't want to see Drew
That
McIntyre
guy.
versus Damian Priest at WrestleMania?
No, that guy should be in the world title picture.
Wait, time out. Do you think it's gonna be Seth versus Punk versus Roman, or just Seth versus
Seth
Punk?
versus Punk versus Rollins. Yeah,
Rollins.
there's a cage match tomorrow, so
Yeah,
gonna-
we'll see what happens.
yeah, well, it has to be unless The Rock's gonna fight
No,
Roman.
now we know that Logan
Maybe
Paul's
Rock
not
will
gonna
fight-
wrestle Punk. Who did Logan Paul wrestle?
Well, is Rock maybe fighting Roman?
I don't think Rock's wrestling.
Yeah, I don't. He's already said he's not gonna
I
wrestle.
don't think he can. I think with movie stuff too, like he just doesn't want to risk injuries and stuff, anyways.
So they put him in. Yeah, well, Seth injured Roman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we could be seeing Roman come back like tomorrow night, mess up Seth.
it's gonna happen. You got to build up WrestleMania now. That's
I
my
still think the
prediction.
night one main event's gonna be that Roman versus Seth versus Punk. And night two is gonna be Cody versus Cena.
I'm gonna go with Jay versus Gunther.
I don't
still.
think so. What did they do this week? Gunther beat like Otis or something, and Jay came out, right?
Just yeet. It's gonna be a yeet party.
Anyways, this is the TWC show, guys. We'll see you all next week. Hopefully, I'm feeling better. We get this done sooner. I thought AEW Revolution was a solid thumbs up pay per view that went really long, but a good pay per view. And shout out to Mariah and Tony for having an epic battle to have their Hollywood ending.
Unfortunately, I have two thumbs, but if I didn't, it'd be like this.
And
it'd be like this.
I will be tuning in Wednesday to see how I feel about what happened, and maybe I'll share my thoughts next week if anything major happens. Because
What time
what
is,
we're trying to do with the TWC show now is just talk about major things that happen, not everything.
What time is Dynamite on Wednesday?
It's 5 o'clock for us on Wednesdays.
Perfect. That's my nap time. So I'll be
All
sleeping
right,
from 5 to
and then
7.
also, well, Just Yapping will be dropping soon. This Just Yapping was just me talking about my Elimination Chamber trip, but moving forward, it's gonna be random topics. Just thought we'd throw that one in there because I just came back from Toronto. But yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the Wrestling Classic on Instagram and TWC Worldwide on Twitter and TWC Show wherever you listen to podcasts and you hear all this stuff. Follow RV at Rain City Toys for all your toy needs. There's toys all over this place, as you can tell. If you're looking for any figures that you have a hard time finding, AEW, WWE, old school, loose figures, he's your guy. And we'll see you all next time.